Hey legends, Frazer Brookes here, and in this video I want to share with you 3 things that you absolutely must be doing to build your big brand on social media. Alright, so if you're new to the channel, please do me a massive favor, give us a thumbs up, smash subscribe, and let me know down below how long you've been building your business on social media for roughly. It doesn't have to be an exact number. Is it 1 month, 3 months, a year, 3 years, whatever it might be. Now, before we get started here, if you would like a free giveaway that I've created to help you in your network marketing business to recruit more people and see be able to just know the process of inviting people, following up with people, closing people, then make sure you go to frazerbrookes.com/101 and then you'll be able to go ahead and get that freebie just for you. It's going to be really good. It's like a flow chart of like start to bottom the recruiting process in the messenger. All right, but today we're not talking about that, because today I'm talking about branding, which is going to allow you to get more people who start to communicate with you, who start to engage with you, who start to love you, who start to follow you. And there are 3 things that you absolutely must be doing. All right, number 1, the first thing is you need to embrace. Right? You need to embrace your stories, your passions, your interests, your personalities, and your vulnerabilities. One of the things that I think really unlocks people, and you can visibly see them at the next level on social media, is when people embrace their vulnerabilities. Like, if you are not prepared to get vulnerable, or you're not prepared to share a certain part about you, or you're not prepared to show a certain thing about you, or you're not prepared to share a certain story, or you're not talking about the things that you actually love talking about, or you're not being yourself or an exaggerated version of yourself, or a part of you that is maybe a little bit crazy, a little bit geeky, a little bit weird, a little bit awkward, then you're not going to go to the next level, and you're therefore going to be the same as everyone else. I want you to imagine that everyone building on social media is in, like, just at this stage, it's very crowded. And because it's very crowded, it's very loud. And because it's very loud and everyone's being loud, it's very confusing and no one really knows who to follow. You're not going to grow a brand at this level. But the people who are stepping up, the people who are stepping out, and they're telling the crazy stories, they're showing their personalities, they're talking about the things that they're passionate about and they absolutely love, and the people who embrace their vulnerabilities, those are the people who stand out from the crowd, and therefore the crowd ends up following those people. So I want you to make a list of all the stories. I have something called a story inventory. It's basically a notes section on my phone. It's absolutely huge. Anytime something happens, I'll write the title of a story that will trigger me to remember that story, and then I'll write like 2 or 3 paragraphs about the actual thing that happened. Things that happen on trips, things that happen at restaurants, things that happen in day-to-day life, something that happens at an event, and I'm like, oh my days, it may be an analogy, it might be something that I heard, whatever it might be, make note of it so that you can actually use. All right? So step number 1, embrace your stories, your passions, your personality, and most important of all, your vulnerabilities. Before I move on to step number 2, I believe that if you want to get better at speaking on stage or on camera, in the first few minutes when you're on stage, share something that is vulnerable. Now, it could be a story, or it could be just you acting a little bit crazy. If you've ever been to one of my events before, if you've ever seen me on stage in front of a large audience, I get people to dance with their hips. Now, some people think like, oh, it's good because you're getting people out their seat and they're moving. That's not the point of it. It is for the crowd in a way, but the reason why I do it is because I'm stood on the edge of the stage, and I have got my hands on my hips and I'm spelling my name like a crazy person. That is a moment of vulnerability, because I look a little bit weird, a little bit crazy, but guess what it allows me to do? It allows me to then not have to worry about anything I'm going to do or say from that point onwards, because chances are I can't look more stupid than I actually was. It's all done on purpose, right? So anyway, point number 2 is create. Once you've embraced, I want you to then create. I want you to create content that's going to create conversation and connection, which will lead to community. All right, so if you create content, the whole idea is that the content creates conversation and a visible community. Nowadays, you don't need a Facebook group to build a community. Why? What happens if your community is on Instagram? Can't have a Facebook group. What happens if your community is on YouTube, right? Like this one, it's not going to be a Facebook group. What happens if it's on LinkedIn or TikTok? Not going to have a Facebook group. The whole idea is that below in the comments, once you're watching this video, you can go into the comments and you can see questions that people have asked. And if you've got a question, feel free to put it down below. Maybe people have said, I love this. This is awesome. I've been following this and this. What about this? How about this? And questions, responses, comments, replies, that is what creates conversation, and conversation is community. In fact, community is the word. You've probably heard me say this before. Community is simply communication plus unity. When everyone's communicating with each other around a certain thing, that's when a community is created. Like your community in your network marketing business, a lot of people talking about the same products or the same opportunity. The network marketing community, a lot of people talking about personal development and mindset and positivity and the events and the books and the opportunity and the haters, right? It's all community. So I want you to create content that's going to get people communicating with each other, having conversation with one another, and that will create the community that you're looking for. Now, the content you create can be based on your stories, your passions, your personality, your vulnerabilities. So when you make note of them and you're aware of what your passions, your interests are, your personality is, your vulnerabilities, and the stories, then everything becomes a lot easier. So we got embrace, we got content, create, and then the last step is grow. Now, obviously growth is what you want, right? You want growth personally, you want growth in your business, you want growth in your bank account, you want growth in your relationships, your health, your parenting skills, your family, whatever. You want growth in all areas. But I think on social media, a lot of people think that their brand is built with more followers that they gain. Now, more followers can mean more brand awareness, but brand awareness is not really the end goal here. Yes, we want to get people aware, but what we really want to focus on is the number of raving fans that we have, right? We need to focus on growing the number of raving fans that we have. If you were to say to me, Frazer, you've got 100 followers, but every single one of those followers is a raving fan of yours. Or, Frazer, you can have an account with 100,000 followers, which one would you choose? I would choose the 100 raving fans all day long. Why? Because I know the growth of that account is going to be massive compared to the one with 100,000 followers. Because they're like, oh yeah, I follow this guy, I think. I didn't realize I followed him. Like, oh, what's he do? The raving fan is going to know everything about you. And they're going to go out there and tell people, oh, Jimmy, you need to go follow Frazer. Sarah, you need to go follow Frazer. Mary, have you heard his latest podcast or YouTube video or that? Like, you've got to go follow him. And that 100 will turn into 1 million much faster than the 100,000 followers will turn into 1 million, right? Without cheating and buying followers, and it's a big problem, right? You can buy followers, you can't buy raving fans. You can buy numbers on a screen, but you can't buy raving fans. Raving fans will come to events that you do. Raving fans will buy books that you do. Raving fans will tell other people to watch your stuff. It's all about creating raving fans. So how do you do that? Tell the truth for long enough and you'll do it. Truth plus time equals trust. And trust is going to be one of the elements of a raving fan. I haven't got enough time in today's video. Maybe I'll do another video on how to really create a raving fan. But you tell the truth around being yourself, sharing your stories, being vulnerable, and talking about the things that you actually love talking about. And then some people will become a raving fan after a week, some after a month, some after the year. What makes the difference in time is dependent on how much content they review. So how much bingeable content have you got? If there's not enough content that's bingeable, then it's going to take a lot more time. Now, the average person takes about 7 to 10 hours of content before they become a raving fan of yours. So if you're watching this video right now, 10, 15 minutes long, right? And then you watch another one, and then next week you watch another one, and then a month later you watch another one, then a year later you watch another one. Eventually, you might become a raving fan of this channel and a raving fan of me and my content. If not, hey, I still love you. But I hope you follow along and maybe tell a few friends, okay? So, last thing when it comes to grow is focus on the transformations and not just the transactions, because the transactions will follow the transformations. Example, let's say you got a follower. A follower maybe is someone, like, let's just say the follower joins you in the business, right? Like, oh, I've been following you, I like what you do, bye. And you're like, great, I've just made a fast start bonus, amazing. Good luck, all the best, here's a guide to get you going. But if you take that person and you transform them from fat to thin, from poor to wealthy, right? From loser to legend, from like no confidence to lots of confidence, right? When you create that transformation, it's very, very likely that that person will become a raving fan. They'll be grateful for you. They'll send you messages. They'll send you gifts. They'll make you feel good, and they'll tell their friends about you and how you've helped them. Now that can build their business, which will therefore build your business. This is the key. Embrace, create, grow. If you haven't already done so, do me a massive favor. Go to FrazerBrookes.com/101 and get the free PDF, which is going to take you through step by step how to invite someone, how to follow up with someone, how to close someone. Literally the scripts and everything. It is so valuable, and I'm giving it away for you for free. Last thing, make sure that you do, I just want you to just take a moment, steady yourself, and I want you to absolutely obliterate the like button and smash the subscribe button. All right? I want you to get a hammer out, and I just want you to whack it as hard as you can, because every one of those every single one of those subscribes and thumbs up means the absolute world to us, and I'll see you on the next video.